Hello everybody, how are you doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our live stream. Ooh, lovely. As always, coffee on standby. I'm sure I'll be drinking another 10 of those as the live stream goes on. How are you all doing? I hope you're all very well. Today we've got quite a few different little bits that we're going to be looking at. First of all, I'm in just a second going to jump into the game. I'm going to have a look at some of the special abilities, special weapons, and I'm probably going to be doing some sound effects for those today. So if you're interested in sound, it's for you. If you're not particularly interested in sound, that's alright. We'll be doing some other stuff too at some point, I'm sure. But like all these live streams, I'll kind of make it up as I go along because, well, it's just a work day, really, but we happen to be live as well.
I'm going to be working on the death animation that we forgot to do for all of our characters.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm just going through and doing that on my computer over here.
Yes, if any of you caught the Just Make Game video, you would have seen that we've, we missed our death animation for the player characters. So Haley is doing that up at the moment, and when there's something to show, I will show that on stream as well. It's coming along alright, actually. It's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I quite like what we've come up with. It's pretty good.
Well, hello to everyone. What have we got? Basler. Hello, Basler. And then Joan and Mark. And Mon Dieu, 72. 20 past midnight here. Yes, streaming. Lovely. Gotta love it. Blame Australia for being a little island off in the middle of nowhere. Not little, large island.
I was going to see if I can make the chat come up on my phone.
There'll be more digital sound effects. There might be some bit of Foley work done if I can't find what I need, but most of the time I can generally find what I need on free sound, which we'll be jumping onto in a second. So just open source samples. They vary in quality drastically, so sometimes you can find what you need, sometimes you can't. If you can't find it, then I'll have to make it. 4 a.m. in the US. Well, that's dedication. Thank you very much for tuning in. Wow.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Alright, let's jump over to Game Maker. Alright, I'm just going to start the game up here. And I'm just going to have a look at some of our little special abilities. This will start up in just a second. It's the first time starting it up today, so it will take a sec here. So, most of the special abilities are in the game at this point. Most of them work. There's a couple that aren't implemented yet, but none of them have sounds. So, I'm going to start going through one by one and doing up some sounds for them. Hopefully sounds that will not need too much attention in the future. They might need a little tweak, as they always sort of do. Everything with games always needs another tweak at some point. But yeah, everything's very silent in the game at the moment. All that really exists is like a swing sound and a shooting sound, and that's about it. So that should be coming up on the stream in just a second. It takes a little while to kick in here. There we go. Alright, and if you saw the Just Make Game video, I've got debug stuff all over the screen at the moment. Shout out to Haley's sweater. Yes, it's a ripper, isn't it?
Thank you so much. I've got lots of ugly sweaters.
Alright, so what do we got? So this very first special ability here is called War Cry. Well, that's not actually the correct one for him. Let's just go to something else then, because of testing, everything has gone around. Grenado's a good one. Okay, so throwing the grenade. This has no sound or anything at the moment, apart from, I think it does a kind of thud when it explodes, and that's about it. That's probably a good place to start, to be honest. So, Grenado is one of your special abilities. Kind of goes like that. You go, boop, and then goes boom, and that's it. So, you know what? Let's start with Grenado first. I'm just going to get out of him. Okay, and let's jump across to free sound. Okay, so there'll be a couple of components to this sound. There will be the actual throw. I do want to probably want a bit of a like a hiss, as in the fuse is burning down, a bounce sound, and then the actual explosion as well. So we've got a couple of components there. We've got the throw, the continuous hiss, a bouncing off the ground, and then an explosion. So let me grab my headphones here, or anything else. And do let me know if you cannot hear the sounds that I'm playing on here as I'm going through. I believe they should be good, looking at the levels here, but let me know if you can't hear them, or if they're too loud, too quiet, things like that as well. Let me just jump over. So let's have a look at... Let's do the throw. Will this game be available on Xbox or PS4? I don't know. I doubt it, to be fair. That's something that I really can't answer until we see how well it sells, to be honest, to see if it's worth porting or anything like that. Chances are likely not. If there are ports, it'll just to be... most likely just to other computer-based things, so Linux, Mac, that sort of deal. It is easier and less work to do that sort of thing, but it is still quite a lot of work. But it's not outside the realm of possibility. Alright, let's just have a look and see if I just type in throw, if I get anything here. I probably want more of a swinging sound than a throw sound, because that generally, in my experience, is sort of what you want. But let's have a little listen. Let's see what we've got now. Anyone that's not familiar with free sound, this is basically a lot of Creative Commons licensed sound effects on a website. They're generally field recordings, as people call it, so people walk around with like one of those Zoom mics, or even just their phone, to be honest, and just record things as they go around. People do that. It's kind of weird, I guess, but it's very useful for people like me that need a bunch of sounds. Now, the most important thing is there are different licenses available. If you are making a game at the moment, you want to be careful which license you're looking at. So I can look at this one here, and this one requires us to give credit to the person that recorded this sound. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Obviously, that's great if you can be bothered keeping track of where you got all your sounds from. So what I normally do, I just go straight to Creative Commons 0, which is a variant of the Creative Commons license. You can search by that, and then this requires no credit. It's fine to use for commercial, non-commercial, whatever you want. It's basically public domain sound. So that's what I want for this. And I'm just going to see what we've got here. Got an egg shaker, we don't want that. Throwing a sword, throwing cane, throwing clothes, stones against a window. Throwing / whip effect, that's probably close to what we want. It looks like it is a cartoon one though, so... Hopefully you guys can hear that. Let me just check if the levels actually move. There we go, you should be able to hear that. That's not bad. I'm going to grab that for the moment. Whether I use it or not, we will find out. And I'm just going to chuck it straight on. Let me just save that on there. Perfect. Alright, one. Let's go again for another throw. Will you guys get the music from that site? Also, no, we are doing the music with the same gentleman and myself that did the music for our last game, Bannerman. We recorded and I mixed and mastered all of that basically through this computer here. We are doing that again, so it's all custom music and all recorded from scratch. It's mostly metal guitars and that sort of thing this time around. Throwing a cane in the forest. Okay. That's terrible. We don't need that. Alright. No, you know what? I'm going to go straight to whip or swing, perhaps. A whoosh. That's what we want. There we go. That's a good whoosh sound. Unfortunately, that's in FLAC format, which I'll have to convert, but that's okay. What else have we got here? great, that one. That was pretty good. Bit of bass on that one. Mixcraft, that's right, yes. We are using Mixcraft. I do like it. I think it is a pretty good DAW, DAW. Other people swear by other things. But I'm quite a fan. I mean, I've basically mixed an album on this so far, having done the last soundtrack, and I didn't come into any problems with it whatsoever, so it gets pretty top marks for me. It's cheap too. I'm pretty sure I got it for less than $100, and that's quite a few years ago. There's a new version out now, but it's I don't know, up to Mixcraft 8, but it's largely the same as 7 from what I've seen. You're pretty ambitious with the music last time. Are you also going to layer dynamically this time around? No, we're probably going pretty dynamic with it this time around as well. It's depending on not super dynamic or anything like that. So it's basically we're going for sort of like an ambient backing track. I'm basically separating out instruments and then bringing them in depending on how hectic things are getting. So we'll record a full track and then isolate out like the drums and the bass, for example. So if you're not doing much, you kind of mince it around the dungeon. Then it's got drums and bass sort of plodding along, maybe the rhythm guitar, and then as you sort of, get into combat and things like that, you might start getting the lead guitar sort of fading in, basically. That's the direction we're going so far. As to whether or not it stays like that, I have to test it and try it, but I've done things like that in the past, and it's generally pretty cool. Have you ever had to record more obscure sound effects yourself? Yes, I have. Bannerman had a few. Trying to think of what there actually was. It was mainly things like impacts. So I couldn't get good enough impacts. So it was lots of just if I've got like a nice impact sound, but it needs a bit of high, and I can't get a good high frequency sort of thing. Like I remember doing quite a few like knee slaps and things like that. For just like when you sword swing, just to mix in quietly in the background, just so it's not all bass. Alright, so what have I got here? Let me just check what I've got. That's okay. So now I reckon that's probably pretty good for the throw. We don't need too much for that. Now I want a hiss. Let's see. I'm just going to get people hissing into the microphone, aren't we? Vinyl hiss. That's not bad. Okay. So the name of the game with all this sort of thing is to layer the sounds as much as possible. That's basically what we're getting into, and mixing them accordingly. If you haven't seen how I've done this, you'll see shortly. This is very common. This is how a lot of people make sounds for games. It's, not a lot of Foley work goes on. A lot of getting samples, layering them, building them up, and then ending up with just what you want for that one specific sound. You never want to just grab like this and go, yeah, that's perfect, and just chuck it in. You want to at least mix it first and do some EQ on it. Have you seen the new trailer for the new Call of Duty? No, I haven't. No, I have not. Is it something unusual? Have they done something weird? I'm going to go Steam now to see if maybe I can get a kettle going or something like that. An ironer. Steaming. Great. Grab that too. Two. Okay, and let's go for one more hiss here. Ooh, this is going to be loud, I think. Let's see. Terrible, don't want it. One more bit of steam. Kettle boiling, that's probably what I want. Great. I'll use that. It's in FLAC again, I'll have to convert it. My least favourite audio format.
Do you just use Mixcraft to convert them?
No, Mixcraft for whatever reason can't open FLAC, so I have to open it up in like Gold Wave or anything like that, and then convert it from there. It's a bit of naff, but it's okay. It's brilliant. Almost too realistic. Wow, that's interesting. Oh, okay. Is it still... Like, what's the actual setting for it? Is it still just, like, modern warfare, as they love to do? Or have we actually got something else? Is it World War II? I'm of the World War II bent. That was all the rage when I was sort of in high school. That sort of thing. So it was all the World War II games at that point. I must admit, I haven't played a Call of Duty game for years. The only sort of first-person shooter I've played in recent history would be Doom, as in the newer Doom, and the newer Wolfenstein games. Alright, what do we got? So, hiss, we got enough hiss for there, we need a bounce. Let's see if I can find a sound of a brick being thrown. As ridiculous as that is, oh, there we go, brick dropped on other bricks. Ha, there we go, perfect.
Hey, Taka.
Taka, how you doing, buddy? So we've got a brick there. And then I've got a AAA stomp. No, not at all. It's just I spent early years. I played a lot of first-person shooters, and I just don't really get into them anymore. I must admit. More of an RPG guy these days.
I cannot play first-person shooters. I'm terrible at them.
What's that? Sounds like a cardboard box. That's alright. We'll use that for a bit of bass. That's pretty good too. Okay. So these might be our drop sounds. Yeah, real good. Thanks, Taka. Yeah, it's we're going pretty well. It's sort of early morning for us at the moment, and I actually got some sleep last night, which was lovely.
Hooray! Yeah, no, I'm doing good.
What's that? Like The Witcher 3? Yeah, I love The Witcher. All the Witcher games. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Hanging out for Cyberpunk, as I think most of the internet is. I have I've been looking forward to that ever since they first dropped their little teaser trailer years and years and years ago. Love me Cyberpunk sort of stuff. That's why that's part of the reason Armitage Games is called Armitage Games, is because Armitage character from Neuromancer, a William Gibson novel, so Cyberpunk novel. So that gives you a pretty good idea. And now I need an explosion. Alright, this is normally pretty easy. Oh god, they look terrible. No. What's this one here? Firework explosion. I actually don't mind that. I'm going to use that. What do we got there? Hey guys, just here to tell you that I've been following the channel since the beginnings of Bannerman, and thanks for the inspiration and value you guys bring with these videos. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you. That was very nice. These are super... Doing these videos is super great for us as well, because it keeps us going. It's it ensures that you've got something to show that month, basically. It's been fantastic. I think if I didn't do these videos, I doubt I would have finished Bannerman, to be honest. I probably would have cancelled it and moved on to something else, and then never released a commercial game. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think they're really good at what's the word? Keeping you on track.
Yeah,
keeping
it's just
you
motivation.
motivated. You don't really want to be like, I did nothing this month. Here's a video on nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And here's one of my favourite cannon sounds. This is probably going to be pretty loud. Yeah, I love that sound, so I'm definitely using that for part of the explosion. And that's in flak as well. Damn it. It's a fine format, just not for me. And let's see if I can get one more sort of cannon in here. I saw there was one here, a pyrotechnic going off. So, last video you uploaded today made me understand the whole god idea of the game. I really like it, gives the game a unique twist. Yes, it's been really hard to communicate exactly what's going on because he hasn't been in and nothing's been visible. Nothing's worked so far because it's all been a lot of just coding systems for things that don't exist yet. It's been really hard to try to give an idea as to what we're actually talking about with that, so I'm glad that it's kind of coming through now. He's going to do lots of things.
But yeah, that's some really good feedback. So thank you so much. Like, it's great that that video like helps you understand what we're going for, which is awesome to hear. Thank you.
Another cannon, perfect. All right, so that should about do us for all the sounds we need here. So let me drop that down there. And cannon 2, that'll be fine. Alright, I'm just going to switch back to there. Okay, so 1 second, I'm just going to convert the sounds which are in a format that I don't need. Just going to convert them over because I haven't set up to screen capture gold wave or anything like that, but it'll only take a second. I'm just going to convert them into a different format, so 1 sec here. And then we can jump over to Mixcraft and actually get mixing. Special sounds, Granado. Yeah, just 3 of them to go. Or actually, I might do it in Audacity. Special. Do I have that one there? I do. Good. And then the hiss just needs to export as well. And now I'll just convert over. That's also that whoosh sound that was in FLAC. There we go. Okay. So now that's all out of the way. Let's jump into Mixcraft. What have I got? How long will this game take to complete? 2 years. Well, we're, what, 20 months in now, so it's going to be longer than 2 years. Probably about, I don't know, what, 3? Something
Soon.
like that.
Yeah,
Soon. Yeah. Time is relative. No, I got no idea.
It's actually a really hard thing to judge. It really is.
Yeah, you can think I did that all the time with Bannerman. I was like, oh, it's only a couple of months away, and then 12 months later, you go, it's only a couple of months away. Time flies pretty quick. Alright, I'm going to throw all these sounds. I'm going to basically do everything on this one set here. So in here I'm going to build every single sound that we need, and then I'll cut them out separately for the separate, because they'll all be separate sounds. The throw will be separate to the hiss, to the explosion, to the bounce. But I'll pop them all in here because then we get an idea of how they play together when I actually do export them separately. So I've got a swing there, let's pop that in there as well. And a whip throw, as they call it. Right, perfect. Great, and now let's see what else I've got. Let's go with the hiss next. Great. Third hiss. Oh, that's the old. Hang on. There we go. Okay. And now let's go the bounce, which has a a brick down there, which I think is absolutely going to be perfect. Something else getting dropped and something else getting dropped. And then let's go down here and I'll just add a couple more tracks. And we'll chuck our cannons and explosions and things like that on here. So what do I got? I've got cannon Og. I've got cannon 2 and an explosion as well. Alright, and just for fun, let's play that and see how that sounds. It's going to be terrible. Good. And the explosion. Lovely. It's just ready to go. No, it's not. Okay. Let's start mixing that. So, let's do the whoosh first. This little throw here. First thing I'll do, I'll just line these up so they actually are all playing at the same time. That's a bit better already. Okay. And let's get the display capture going here. 1 second, because this is very weird to try to capture on here. Does Game Maker have assets from asset stores like Uni? It has its own asset store, which I must admit I've never been on.
I didn't even know it had that. There you go.
It does. It's, yeah. It's got its own asset store, but I don't think I've ever been on it. I might have gone on there once looking at shaders, because I'm not very good at shaders myself, ages ago. But yeah, I think it's got all sorts on there. From what I've seen, it's, you know, sprite sheets and things like that as well. All right, this is my equalizer here. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go through and equalize each of these sounds. You guys seem to do absolutely everything. Can you outsource some of the work? Yeah, we could outsource some of this, but you gotta go time versus money for that, and we got time. We don't really have much money, to be fair. And I'm like one of those people too that's like an ultra perfectionist, so I'll get something back from someone anyway, and chances are I'll go through and essentially start redoing it, because I'll be like, oh, that's not quite right, you know, that's just what I'm like. Alright, let's have a look. So, we're just going to go through one at a time, have a little look, and see what's going on here with each of these sounds. So, an equalizer here, in case some of you don't know what's going on with an equalizer, this is low frequency to high frequency, so as in low sounds to high sounds. So this is subwoofer range down here, and this is really high, irritating, sort of hissing sounds. Now what we're going to do is just go through and balance these out. We do want a bit of low in the swing, but not too much, because it is a swing and it's largely high frequency sort of sound. So we're going to go through equalize, get rid of the bits of sound we don't want, and then we'll go from there and see if we need to do any other processing. Probably not too much, and then we'll go on to the hiss, which will probably have more going on. When you guys make music, do you use any virtual instruments, VSTs? Mostly live instruments, but there are we do use some VSTs as well. Like yeah, especially with the keyboard I got behind me. So things like drums are often, even if we do some sort of live drums, I often beef it up with samples, or you know, using a VST afterwards. Things like a lot of the music for that might even be playing now. What do we got now? No, that's just the Bannerman soundtrack there. But like, yeah, the sort of music that I've recorded for Just Make Game, that's all just done in VST and synth and things like that. So they outsource marketing to you. Yeah, there you go. Let's see what I got for this sound here. So, alright. So you can see on this, hopefully you can see, make sure I'm capturing this right, you can. When I play this through, got this little bit down here, a little bit of bass in there, which we definitely don't want. This is not a bassy sound that we want here. So we're going to do what we call a high pass, get rid of some of that bass. And we're all around sort of 300 to 500 at the moment. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take some of this high off as well. Just a little bit. And just keep that middle portion, because this is a nice beefy sort of whoosh. Some of these other ones when I was grabbing them are a bit thinner and chunkier, and I'll use that to their advantage. This has a nice middle ground, so we'll keep that. This one here. Down. Let's see. Again, let me line this up. There we go. This one's really deep. It's almost like a thud. So I'm gonna get rid of like the super low pass of this. We do not want that. And oh, let me get rid of the top as well. Yeah, that's pretty useless. Probably won't end up using much of him at all. And then next one around, we've got. And that one's not too bad either. Okay, so again, let me position this. This has got a definite low thud as well. Now, I don't really want any low thud on this because we are throwing something, we are not smashing it into anything. That's not bad. Okay. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get rid of the high on that one because it's not very good. That's alright. And I'm going to go back and put the highs back in on my original one here.
Got another question. Have you guys thought of a third project after you complete this?
Oh, many.
Yeah, we've got lots of ideas.
Lots of ideas. Nothing that's really...
Nothing that we've gone, yes, we have to do that next, definitely.
Yeah, nothing like that yet. Yeah, that sounds just way better quality than all the others that I'm using here. It's got quite a bit of reverb on it. Let's play all three sounds together, see how we're sounding at the moment. So this is just literally throwing the grenade, so just at the very start. Yep, all you can really hear right now is that main sound, really. That's not bad. What we're going to do is I'm just going to chuck a bit of reverb on. Now, do I want to keep this at all? No, I'm getting rid of him. He's junk, he's going in the bin. This third sound, he's very quiet. Just boost him up a bit, and then I'll chuck a bit of reverb on him. Whoop. There you go. So this is one of my favorite little reverb plugins I use. It's called Towel Reverb. It's great because it's separate reverb for high, mid, and low frequency ranges. In this case, I don't want any low frequency reverb, so I can just turn it off, and that's awesome. And you can actually adjust the frequencies themselves, but this is probably going to be way too long. Let's have a little listen. It sounds like it. Yeah, room size down. Too much high. Because most of this sounds at about 500. There we go, those two sounds together. There we go. That's a pretty good little throw sound. We'll do that one more time. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm going to lock in the throw as is. Bang to bang to boom. Done. And let me just delete that so I don't accidentally unmute it and ruin everything. Now let's have a look at this hiss. So we've got a couple of different sounds going on here. The first sound is sort of intermittent here. So I'm going to have to start cutting out bits I don't want. I don't want this where it sort of sputters at the end. Don't want that. this bit's quite good. I quite like that. So I'll keep that. And I'm probably going to want this to play longer, so I'm just going to go across. Let's see if I can. That's decent enough at the moment to join those two together. Now let's have a listen to our next sound. We don't have... Quite quiet, this one. Again, I don't want any of that, so I just want the actual hiss near the start. Oh, we've got even more. Oh, this one goes for ages. Okay. No. Maybe here. That's the bit. Okay. Get him back to the start, get him somewhat lined up. Get rid of that little click on as they turn the valve on. Get rid of him. That's pretty good. I don't mind that. And we're going to go for that long. And next sound down. Another hiss. This one's more of a bubbling kettle, so it's got more bass, but we'll get rid of that. That's not bad, actually, so I think that'll be quite useful when we mix it in. Alright. So, we'll start EQing these as well. EQing this part's going to be pretty easy. You want this to be rather high frequency. I'm just going to basically kick out the bass for these so we don't have any. That's pretty much it. Drop that down, get rid of it. That'll be good for the moment. Open up the next one. It's got a nice swell to it, that one. And that one doesn't even have anything down low, but I'll do it just out of habit anyway. And now we've got the bubbling, gurgling part, which will need quite a bit of EQ, and I might even need to adjust the pitch of him as well. Big thing with EQ is always get rid of the bits of the sound you don't need rather than trying to boost up the ones that you are lacking. So if you want, for example, if you had this original sound, say the last sound up that was really quite high pitched, if you wanted to make that bassy, you can't just bump the EQ up there and turn it up and get bass out of it. It doesn't work like that. You got to use the information that the sound has in it. So the best way to go about that is to cut bits out you don't want and find another sound to fill the gap that's left. And that's basically the whole rationale as to why we're using sort of 3 different hiss sounds here for this, is because the second hiss sound is slightly higher pitched than the first, and it's got better quality up in that higher part. The first is great and it's sort of, you know, getting mid to high, and this one is really quite low. So I don't want too much low in this sound in general, but the others don't even have a low component, so this will help us get a sort of a more full sound. So what I'm going to do here, because I don't really want... I'm just going to... Well, first I'll cut off the low and see what he sounds like. Yeah, not really what I want. So I'm going to cut off to about there because I don't want it too bassy. That's not bad. And I'm going to actually cut off the highs here as well because we've already got them from other sounds, so... And now I'm going to preemptively chuck a bit of EQ on him as well, because it's got a bit of rattle to it, and I want to smooth that out a bit. Like that. Alright, let's see how we sound with all three going, just at the same volume. That's pretty good. That needs to go lower. That one needs to go lower too. Lower again. There we are, so you can just hear a little bit of that sort of lower pitch in there, but it's quiet and you don't get too much of it, and that's exactly how we want it. Now we've got the bounce. Let's move this across here. The bounce, I want a distinct. I want two sort of layers to this bounce here. I want the thud of the actual sort of impact, but I also want a distinct sort of ting, like almost like a metallic sort of ringing to it. I suppose not a ringing, but like more of a metallic sort of clang than a large thud. In fact, I want both of those things, a large thud and a bit of a ting. Now, I'm lucky that I think the first brick sound is really quite high pitch. Yeah, that is great. It's all just in the left channel for some reason, but there we go. Move that to center. Now, I love that. That's just what I want. Excellent. Let's see what we got next. Ah, that's the thud. Okay. What's the third sound I ended up grabbing for this? I cannot even remember. Probably another thud. Oh, that's the... Yeah, someone dropping bottle caps. Okay. That'll be our little tertiary sparkly bit that you'll barely be able to hear. Alright, let's go with the thud first, because that is the core part of the sound. Again, I'm just going to grab my EQ, which is the main sort of tool that you need for this type of thing. Everything else does help, compressors and all that, but EQ is the first place to start. So what do we got? Yeah. So you can see that takes up the whole spectrum there. We don't want all of that. We just want more or less this part here. Definitely don't want any of those highs. So let me get rid of those highs first. Now it sounds all muffled, which is what we want, because we've got the high bit from the first sound. Now, I don't want it to go as bassy as it is, because that's like super bassy right now. That might be alright for the moment. Might come back to him. Let's have a look at this higher pitched little tinkly bit here. Oh, perfect. Alright. There's nothing low, but I'll do it just in case there's something that doesn't show up on here. You don't want to mix them all together. And so it's really spiking at 5k. Just to give you an example, let's listen to it with 5k really dug down. That's that main little ring that comes through. This is with 5k boosted. It's quite lovely actually, so I'm going to leave it pretty much as it is there. Let's see if I want to get rid of any 2k at all. Maybe. Now what about the very high? Do I need all that? I do. There you go. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Have a lovely time. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. See you later.
Yeah, I'm going to get rid of a little bit of 2K there because 2K is it's a part of the sort of frequency that's generally pretty harsh. Anything sort of around 2 is like 1.5 to 3-ish, roughly. It's kind of irritating, which is good in some ways. If you want to make like a low health warning sound, perfect. Something like this, you don't really want it ringing through too much. It really tends to cut through every other frequency, and you can really pick up on it. So I'll just cut a little bit out there. That'll be fine for the moment. And then we've got our super high little sparkly bit. So for this, I'm definitely just going to cut everything out apart from like the very high. So where are we? This one here. Oop. How do you fine-tune your ear to work out the sound nuances? Lots of practice, really. It's a really good way to do it is to open up an EQ and then play a song and go through and cut out different portions of the sound, like just going through the frequencies, moving up and down, just cutting it out, because then you can really hear what each of those different frequencies do. So if you, for example, you just plug a song in and then cut off a lot of the high frequencies, it'll sound like, you know, neighbor next door is having a party at middle of the night sort of thing. You get that, just the thud and the boom of it. Because if you do the opposite and you cut the bass off and you end up with the sort of just the highs, then it sounds like you're playing it through really crappy laptop speakers or something like that. And it's all about just playing around with it, and then you sort of end up picking up what bits do what and what's important to have and what you want to have less of and things like that. That's all super high, but it's not as high as I want, so I'm going to get that and get rid of some of the lower parts. That's it. Just a little tinkle. It's like someone dropping their keys. And I get rid of that third part of it and just fade him out. Oh yeah. That's not bad. Now I might need another sound in here to cover up. There's sort of not much mid-range. I've got low, sort of mid to high, and then very high. So let's have a listen. But I probably do need something else in here too. Oh, it's not bad. That tinkly bit is way too loud. You know what? That's good enough for me to move on for the moment. That's not as bad as I thought it was going to come out, actually. Alright, and then what do we got next? The cannon, the explosion. That's the fun bit. Same thing with this. Obviously, these are all going to be like super bassy. And I do want some really chunky bass in there, but I also want some high frequency portions as well, especially what you get with a lot of cannons, and why I like using cannons for explosions and gunshots and things like that, is you often get the dirt being scattered after the shot, that sort of high frequency sound coming in, and that's really nice and helps balance out how bassy these things normally are. Let's have a listen to the first one. That's right, this is a firework. Okay. Now you get rid of that first explosion there, but I like that little whistle that goes through. I think that's hilarious. That's great. And that's something like I was talking about, the sort of dirt from a cannon. It's like, that's a great little high frequency sort of addition to it. I'll just fade him out because I cut him short, so. Fantastic. Alright. Let's have a little look at the EQ for this one. I'm even looking towards probably getting rid of most of the explosion for this and just leaving that little fizzle at the end. Whoop, shouldn't have done that. There we go. Back over here.
I just got asked what I'm up to. I am working on the death animations for the characters, the ones that we forgot about. So yeah, I'm just going through each of the characters. I worked out a bit of a death animation yesterday and just basically drawing their clothes on, really.
I'll just be back in 1 second.
So the way we do these characters is I've got like a reference layer. I'll get Mike to show you this in a little bit too. So I've got a reference layer, then we have a skin layer, and then we have a clothing layer. So the reference layer and the skin layer is pretty similar across the board there. But then when I'm changing each of the characters, I basically go through and draw on their clothing. So some of them are a bit easier than others. So some of them have got like longer coats on, or the guy I'm just about to do now has got like a long kind of scarf on. So just have to take that into account with like the way the character is moving. So for the death animation, they kind of get thrown up in the air, and I'm just thinking, now which way is the scarf gonna go? So yeah, that's what I'm up to at the moment, just doing some more character animations. And once I've done a few more, I'll get Mike to show you what I'm up to.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Fortunately, can't capture both screens at once, so but we're on a network, so I can grab it easily enough when there's something there. Alright, what was I doing? That's right, this one here. I love that firework whistle. I think that's hilarious. So let's just cut that out by itself and see how it looks. You know what? I think I'm probably going to leave it about there because these other ones are going to definitely handle the base on their own. So it's got that crack. I'm going to pump the 2K up for this one just to have a little listen, because this is the sort of thing that you do want a bit of, like I was talking about how 2K tends to cut through. You do want this to cut through. This is an explosion of something important, so... yeah, drop it all out there. That should be pretty good. Alright. On to the next. That's quite a mid-range explosion, that one. Alright, first thing, getting rid of all that high frequency. We don't need any of that because we've got the other one to fill it in, so get rid of him first. And I dare say I'm going to get rid of the low because it's not particularly good, not particularly good quality low frequency sound here, like the real bassy stuff. And the other one is the third one that we haven't listened to yet. Yeah, just kind of a generic boom, really. Pretty wimpy sounding on its own. Let me fade that out because it's got a bit of reverb that doesn't quite tail off. And the last sound. Whoop. Checking music audio. 1 sec. Sort out my streaming properly. Checking my volume as well because I'll probably talk like that. Yeah, that one's super bassy and I love it, so pop that up there. Hope that doesn't bleed through mine too much. Walla walla. So you can see it. Morning, Tyler. How you doing?
Good morning.
Right, and here we go. First thing I'm going to do before even listening to it, let's get rid of that high frequency. We don't need it. Juicy. And we do have a bonus second sound here. It's got the cannon loading, so I'm just going to cut that off because we don't need that part for sure. Oop. Alright. Oh, without doing any reverb or anything like that, let's have a listen and see how they sound. They're not even perfectly lined up. I should probably fix that, shouldn't I? Close enough. Let's see how it sounds. I can't help it, the firework whistle makes me chuckle whenever I hear it. It definitely needs to go lower on the whistle though. I quite like that. So, let's set this back to snap. Okay, so we've got the throw, then we've got the hiss, which will start pretty much immediately. I'll fade that up just ever so slightly. The bounce. And then, obviously that hiss will continue until the explosion. There we go. That's pretty good. So at the moment I'll just save them as is like this, and then later on I'll part them out into each part I need. I will probably put a little bit of compressor on them, especially on the explosion, just to make sure that it's nice and loud enough and not blowing eardrums out, but also not being wimpy little things. But that's pretty good, so I'm just going to go ahead and save that one for the moment. So that's the grenade all done. Grenado. Ta-da! Alright, that's one sound done. Let's jump back into the game, have a look, and see if anything else grabs my eye that we want to do. He's not in yet. Blink. Blink is a teleport. What sort of sound do I want for him? So Blink goes like this. Bong. The short range little teleport. Probably some sort of bong.
Yeah. Or some Star Trek transporter-y kind of.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
Let me just regenerate that. See if there's something else that grabs me straight away too, because there's lots to do, so I might as well pick something I've got immediate reaction to. Haste. See, a lot of them are like this, so this increases your speed for 10 seconds. A lot of them are one of these sort of buffs that basically just goes, and there you've got it. So, in haste you could do, there's a couple of different things you can do with haste. Go away. Let me respawn there. Make it mobbed.
I'm doing this, like, watching it come up on screen and trying to think of a sound that goes with it. It just reminds me of this meme that keeps popping up that's, someone saying you can't hear sounds, and that's just an image. No, you can't hear pictures, it's just an image of the Sega logo.
Yeah. Quick hands. 3 homing projectiles. This might be a bit closer. Okay. This is probably easier to immediately come up with something. This is more of just basically a magic spell. So let me see if I could have got someone to subject it to. Of course, no enemies when I want them. They swarm me while I'm doing other things, but no, not now. There we go. Come here, buddy. Just little homing projectiles come out, go around, break everything. So that needs an actual cast. Most likely a travel sound as it's traveling around. And then some sort of magical impact sound, because I don't want to use the same impact as everything else for magic. Just wait for that to recharge and we'll cast him again. Come down here, mate. So something that sort of goes boom, bing, 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 bing. Something like that. Might be the way to go. Okay. What's he called? Forbidden Knowledge. That's it. Alright. Let me just set up my folders for him and we can start doing some sounds for Forbidden Knowledge.
Now, I might have asked this on stream last time, or I might have asked it afterwards when you were doing sound effects, but so you've decided to do like the sounds for the Forbidden Knowledge spell. How do you go about, like, how do you know what to search for on Freesound?
What do you mean in terms of
Like, how do you know what sounds you're going to use to make up your sound effect?
Well, experimentation.
Yeah, I
Mainly,
guess so. I guess
like-
it'd be like practice and
Like if you're talking about something like a gunshot, how I know to look for a cannon, for example, you got to try to think of things that sound similar, but have the components you want. So like a gunshot, I know recording most gunshots sounds pretty wimpy, but you can record like a cannon or a bomb going off. So it's like I'm more inclined to look for that if I want something really bassy.
yeah.
So, and it's like, I need a scattering sound after the shot because it doesn't have one, like, someone shoveling dirt.
Okay.
So you just got to try to think laterally about,
Yeah.
what it is you specifically need and out of the sound at the end and try to think of things that can piece that together. Like right now I'm sort of, like, because I want this to have like almost like a shimmery sort of sound as the projectiles are going around, so it's like, I don't know, think of something with like a tambourine to start with.
Oh yeah.
And like probably some sort of like bell or chime sound for when it hits them. So.
Okay.
But yeah, This one's a bit harder to come up with what I actually need for it. So let's have a look.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, what would I type in the free sound? And I'm like, sparkly magic sound.
Yeah, well, like it can be worth doing that too. Like if I jump on a free sound now, like. If I type in magic, I can probably get something that's moderately close to what we want. Like, but I don't necessarily want to use, like, a couple of people on here do sort of mix final sounds, like they haven't just.
Ah, okay, yeah.
But a lot of the time, it's like, to be fair, it's not that great. But
I guess too, if you like, started your search there. They have descriptions like this is made up of like whatever.
Yes, yeah, a lot of them do, yeah.
Yeah, you can be like, oh, okay, so all these 3 people use chimes. I'm gonna look for chimes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, this
I
one
kind of get it now.
Yeah, so got like people on here like magic missiles cast sound. It's like sounds like a lot of flanger. See, that's pretty cool. I like this one. Let me unplug that so you can actually hear this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
That to me sounds like a lot like metal scraping with like something else behind it. So I'll try to do something like that, more or less. Oh, I missed a question there. Could you do graphics besides pixel graphics? Yes, I've done a fair amount of 3D before in the past.
I'm looking forward to learning 3D. I have never done any game graphics before starting work on this. So I did study art at uni. So I can paint and draw and things like that. And it does help.
Oh, definitely, yeah. But yes, if you want to see the sort of like it was basically like low poly 3D was what I did previously. If you do a search for Berserker Quest, which you know what, I'll even just do on here because I've literally got Chrome open right now and I might as well. You get this sort of thing. So it's like super low res, super low poly, no textures, but light maps, which was a really weird sort of look. And that was like the game before Bannerman that I finished. And that's the sort of beta footage for it, where it looks kind of a little bit jank. But I have also done some sort of, I guess, more like higher poly count stuff as well in the past, but not for a game specifically, I must admit. Alright, so this was that metal effect. Oh, I can't even hear that. Turn that up. Was that the wrong one? One second. I'll grab that for the moment because I can use it as a bit of a base for something while layering other things over the top. It's a little bit too full on for what I want. Forbidden knowledge, so I'm just going to call that magic 1. But yeah, that's because it's already sort of processed. You can see it here in the comments. Used it in my game and a Steam store link. So there you go. So someone's just grabbed that straight up and just chucked it straight in. We won't be doing that. But we're going to look at doing a couple of other things. So I want I reckon, a vibraphone. Is it spelled with a PH or an F? Vibraphone. I just want a good note here. Oh, God, no. Sorry about that. Good. Ta-da! Let's get that vibraphone. Can we get a tambourine? I spelled that wrong, didn't I? Or do I not? Okay. It's got a U in it, I'm pretty sure. No, it doesn't. Hang on. There we go. Spelling, how does it work? Letters, help. I want just a straight up. Don't really want something that's got a straight beat like that. Like that's a great beat. It's a lovely beat. But I want just someone going crazy with the rattle. Being hit with cymbals. Tambourine small. These are all short, so these are just hits. I don't want to hit. I don't even know what you'd call it. Is it like a ride? Like a ride symbol? I have no idea. You're wrong?
Yep, I was just going to sneeze, so I moved away from the microphone, and then my sneeze went away. Just the usual.
Just the usual. Nothing but fun here at Armitage Games. Andrew
like,
Bates, how you doing, Andrew?
Hi, Andrew. No, I was just like, don't sneeze in the microphone. And then, yeah.
Ah, someone give me a tambourine rattle. What do we got? Come on, where are we? No. Coin pull. Okay.
Yeah, I can just hear that. It sounds nice.
I think that's alright. Not exactly what I was after, but it's not bad. Oh, of course, it's in AIFF format. Great. Another one to convert. Let's see, what else could we want? A metal... I want a swing. Metal... sliding?
Wayne's World.
Not that. Morning tea time fund! Thanks, Andrew!
Ah, thank you so much.
Interesting sound. Interesting. Can I just have metal grinding then? Oh, not that. No, sorry. You know what? I'm just gonna go sword. Swing? No swing. Don't want to clang. Draw. Here we go. Ah, knife being rubbed against a cheese slicer.
Perfect.
It's all right, Andrew Bates. That gentleman there is also Andrew. Shing, shing, swing. I'm going to call that swing. Let's see if we can get some bell action going on in here as well. Nice little chime. No, that's not a nice little chime. That's a little dong. Okay, yeah, okay. We could use that for a part of it. This is going to be an interesting sound. Okay. Definitely. Another chime. Alright. Now, do I have enough for... Just thinking for the cast. Not really. I want a bit of choir action in there, I think. If we can get some. Do you record your own sound effects? I do. If there's something that specifically I need, I do end up recording my own quite a bit. But a lot of the time you can grab most people. There's people out there that record everything, which is like, I do find it a bit strange. But you know, if you need the sound of a dragonfly, chances are there's probably about 50 recordings on free sound of a dragonfly. It's cool hobby, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. I've never even thought of something to even do that, but yeah, there's a lot of people out there that just do like field recordings and stuff. So generally, you can find sort of most of what you need on here. But yeah, if I need something specific, I do record it myself. But and I have done so in the past. You're right there.
Yeah, I'm just. And our death animation, they kind of do a bit of a spin, and the guy I'm doing now is wearing a scarf, so I'm just like, which way does the scarf spin?
Scarf on top. Just wrap it around his neck. Alright, and let's see if I can get a bit of pad action. Otherwise I'll just synth my own on here, but bit of bass. Pretty cool. Grab that too. Alright. And I'm going to go grab another coffee because I've been going for a bit over an hour now. And
That sounds good. I can do with a coffee.
And I'm starting to slow down, so I'll be back in about 5 minutes. I'm going to grab a coffee and then I'll be back to mix up some forbidden knowledge, apparently. Right, back in a sec, guys. We're back. Cool, I'm back. Haley will be back in a second. I have my delicious coffee. Lovely. Alright, let's get back into some sound. I'll grab me old headphones here, otherwise I can't hear the sounds. Need to hear the sounds to mix the sounds. Alright. I'm just going to grab a couple of other little samples for this one. Something I thought of just then when I was grabbing a coffee was I do want a symbol, like a crash symbol. I do have samples for these as well, but I'll just see if there's something on here, just because I'm already on here, rather than digging through my samples. Don't want anything too hard. Soft synth, eh? Oh no, not that. No. I probably do want that, but that's not what I was thinking of. Let's grab one anyway. Nope. Alright, I'll just probably end up using one of my samples in. That's cool. Hopefully my keyboard's plugged in. I don't even think it is, but that's alright. I can do it with the... just the note editor in Mixcraft. Oh, coffee. Love it so much. Alright, let's see what sounds I've actually got here. One sec, let me change back over here and just organize my folders. Just one second. Sign up as Patreon. Thank you very much. Patron over here. Lovely. Thank you so very much. That is fantastic. Let me grab my sounds. I do have some sounds to convert. So 1 second. Let me convert these very quickly. Let's go chime. Yes, chime. I'll save it as an OG. Knowledge. Coin pour is in the wrong format as well, and then last one, the swing. Swing. There we go. Okay. Mixcraft. There we go. Let me just make a new sound here. Alright, so much like the last sound, this is going to have a couple of components to it. So we've got the initial sort of cast. As soon as you press the button, sound happens. We're going to have the actual... I want the magic projectiles to have their own little travelling sounds as they go around, and I will put this in stereo when it's actually coded up in the game. So if they're going on the right side of the player, then they'll bugger off to the right. Thank you very much, Andrew. Catch you later. Thanks again,
Andrew.
So I'll pan this the sound of the traveling magic in stereo. So if it's to the right of the player, it'll be over in the right speaker, you know, that sort of thing. And then I want an impact. So when the magic actually hits an enemy, I want a little sound, as well as there will be an actual bodily impact sound, you know, like a typical cantilouping hit with a hammer type squish, that sort of. But I also want a magic impact sound to play over the top of that, which will probably be some sort of chime type sound, where I'm thinking very, for a lot of the magic in this, lots of bells, lots of chimes, cymbals, that sort of like ringing sort of sound, basically. Let me pop my sounds in and see what we've got. So we've got that straight up magic sound that I grabbed. I've also got a pad here. I've got the swing. I've got the typewriter chime, which will probably go later. A lovely vibraphone tone there. I've got the coin paw, as they call it. A choir. And have I already got the chime in there? No, I don't. Another chime. What does this chime sound like? Bing! That's not bad. I think we could use that for quite a few things. That could work pretty well on the actual hit. When magic hits someone, you could pretty much go hand in hand with this one. It's a shame that typewriter sound gets cut off so quick. I need to grab a couple other sounds too now that I'm here, because I do need some sort of actual impact sound in there. Something low frequency, something kind of bassy. Failing that, I can just drop a kick drum or something in there, but we'll go for... I'm just going to type in impact and see what comes up. Hopefully get someone just like throwing something against a door or something like this. Hand impact on porcelain sink. See, this is what I was talking about. People record absolutely everything. This guy's just slapping a sink.
I think it's so cool.
It's pretty weird. I think it's kind of strange. I can see it being like a all-encompassing hobby until you get to the point where you're just recording absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Pretty weird, but let's hear the hand slapping a sink. Yeah, it's not bad. That's not a bad sound. So let's go the old sink slap. I will save it as sink slap. There we go. It's not a bad sound. Let me import that one. I've got it before I forget about it. Let's go sink slap and I'll chuck it down there. And I'll grab some more. Let's go back to impact again and see if there's anything here that does the job. Metal impact. Wheelchair with metal. Okay. No. Oh, what's this big subwoofer impactor up? Just a massive subtone. Anyone's got subwoofers, they just rattled everywhere. Box impact. Deep impact. Alright. Yeah, right. Deep impact it is. Let's go over that. Deep impact. Now let's jump back to Mixcraft and see if we've got enough to play with. Otherwise, I'll jump back and get some more. The sound's got a lot of layers going to it, so it's going to be a bit more complex than the last one. It's also going to have more effects, I can tell just already. It's going to be lots of effects. This bad boy. So let's see if we can get just the car sound first. I probably also do want that throw sound that we use for the Granado. I think, was it whip throw? Is that what it was called? Let's just see. Yes, I want that too. Pop another track in there. Running out of tracks. Alright, so let's see what we've got to work with first. So, first, the cast. Now, I might just... You know what, we'll jump back into the game here so we can just refresh our memory as to what this looks like and how it works. And... oh, wrong button. Excuse me while I kill a bunch of dudes that are in the way. And we'll wait till we get it. Forbidden knowledge, we got it there. Okay, so this is how it works. So here we go. Boing. A couple of magic projectiles. Where are they going? Oh, they're killing that dude up there. Okay. Oh. So let's just have another look at that. We'll wait for it to recharge here. It's only a couple of seconds. And then Oh, it's cold near today.
Yep. That's why I'm holding my little heat pack. It's a bag full of rice that I put in the microwave. My mouse hand gets really cold.
Alright, here we go. So, we got the spawn, and then they have their little hiss as they go along, and then that runs out. They don't last that long, but they do home in on enemies and kind of just wiggle around as they go. So, that's what we're going to go with, I think, so far. Also reminds me I do need a throwing weapon sound as well. I need so many sounds. There's basically no sounds done for this. The god is going to need a bunch of sounds as well. It's, yeah. Wow, there's a lot of sounds to do. I just sort of remembered. The only thing that really exists is breaking objects and swinging melee weapons. Alright, enough of that. Hello there, Torsten. Torsten, is that right? Torsten?
Hello.
Alright. So that's what we need. So let's see if we can actually get some of these sort of chimey sounds going. Alright. So this is what we've got first. So first up is that sort of pre-built sound that we grabbed earlier. Kinda cool. Kinda cool. We've got a nice pad here, which is a big swell. Kind of spooky. So first thing I'm going to do with him is reverse him. Pop him around the other way. Because we want it to sort of die out, not fade in, basically. But that's pretty cool. Even without any mixing, that's pretty cool. We've got our swing. Swing! And we've got our choir there, our angelic choir, which might be useful, it might not be. Our vibraphone tone. Lovely, clean recording, that one. What else we got here? Coin pour. I'm thinking that for the actual travel sound of the magic, so I'll pop it over here. We don't need it for this first cast part. And what else we got? Ah, the sort of throw, which I'm thinking of having as the actual, because you're essentially throwing out 4 little projectiles, and we're going to have that sort of probably really closely slapped together near the start 4 times, so it goes. We'll worry about that when we get to it. First of all, let's start with the pad here. Let's grab out my little EQ. Now, I probably want this pad to mainly fill out the bass more than anything else. Get some real rumble going with this, I imagine. I can also shift the pitch down if we need to, but let's see how we go. So spooky. And you know what? I think I will just shift the pitch down while we've got here. Should be good. Should hopefully fill out the rest of the sound. But let's have a little look. Oop, let me get rid of that. Now, we've got our swing. This is going to need probably the most attention out of the lot, I imagine. Swing. So, first of all, let's crack open the EQ on here. I'm thinking of basically piling a huge amount of reverb on this and having it just ring out throughout pretty much the entire sound, but we'll see how we go. Let's see what frequencies we're looking at. Swing. Pretty high. Let's get rid of the bass for him. It's got a bit of a bass component, which is just junk. There's also a bit of hiss in there, so I'm going to take off the very, very high portion. Where is that hiss? That's quite annoying. Okay. Might be cool with a bit of reverb on it though, so let's actually try them out. So what I'll do is let's slow them down a bit first. Oop, wrong way. Already sort of getting there, and let's go for a bit of a reverb party on here and see what we can get him sounding like. Yep. And right, so we don't really want any low. Oh, a wee bit late to this stream, my apologies. Hey, that's alright, buddy. We kind of sprung it on everyone without much advance notice this time around. We only put it up about an hour before summer shutdowns at work. And my time's all the hell. Well, that doesn't sound fun. What do you do for work?
And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's getting kind of sizzly, this sound. I want to hear what just the wet sounds like, which is just the reverb itself. Ooh, that might be pretty close to what we want. All from a swing. Heavy on the old left speaker there. Interesting. Let's play with the pitch a bit. See if he can go down just a touch. Oh, no, not too good. A little bit less. Let's try him for a bit. We'll sort of see how he sounds like that when he's all mixed together. What do we got next? Typewriter. Oh. Wrong name. Choir. Alright. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. What if I just knock the pitch down to him to a ridiculous extreme? How does he sound? Probably really stupid. It's not bad. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Right. Let's see what sort of EQ we got going on here, what frequencies we've got to play with again. Right in the middle. Nice recording. I'm going to cut the top off. It's not bad. Industrial furnace maintenance. It's one of the places where we shut down and allow burner calibration and installation. Oh, 15, 16-hour workdays for a month or so. Bugger that.
Oh, that's crazy.
Hope you get crazy overtime pay for that. Just out of curiosity, what does that sound like if I reverse it? Kind of cool. What about if I reverse it? Reverse that. Kind of pop them together. Okay. And what if I speed him up then as well, so he swells up pretty quick? money is good, and work is a killer. Makes the beer taste better on a night time. Yeah, oh, yeah, I bet. I bet. I actually don't mind the little choir mash-up that I've done here. It kind of swells up. It's a little bit hokey in the middle, but like that's just fine-tuning sort of stuff, which I can get to at some point. Whoa. Okay. Let's see. There's a lot of reverb already on this, but I do want to hear what it sounds like with just a bit more. I am cautious to put too much reverb on everything, but I just want to hear a little bit on this fella. Let's go light verb. John's verb. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm going to leave it on and we'll try it out. Now we're going to have vibraphone here. Let's see exactly what I want to do with this. I'm not sure. It's a lovely note.
What's a vibraphone?
Thing you hit with mallet.
Ah.
Bing.
Yeah.
Should I knock it down and hear what it sounds like, maybe? Yeah, I can see that being in there, but really low in the mix, just to give it a bit of impact, basically. But yeah, I can't see this being like a predominant part of the sound, really. I can see it being there. Right at 200. All right, well let's get rid of the lows, highs around it. Bing. What a lovely chime. Alright, what else we got? Ah, the bush. Okay. Let's see if... what I want to do with this can actually work. So what I want to do, ideally, is get 4 of these in really quick succession for the 4 magic bits and get that sounding okay. Well, we have to go a little bit longer than that, aren't we? Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to all layer and sound terrible, but we'll give it a go. Got that click to it. Let me just see if I've got another whoosh from earlier. I don't think that's the one I want. Swing, perhaps? There we go, that's the one. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will probably sound weird as well, but with some effects we might be able to do it. So someone rolling on a snare drum. Oh, but that's okay. Let's have a look at the EQ. You know what, I'm going to have to do this with a delay or something like that. Nope, don't like it. Then you go back to the whip through. And I'm going to pop a delay on him instead at some point. Still got like an impact to it, which I really don't want. Have you looked at getting your games on other platforms like the new Epic Games platform or Humble Indie Bundle? Yes. Yes, I have. Ideally, especially this one, will be going more or less everywhere that will take us. So definitely going on Steam, of course. Definitely be going on Itch.io because why not? That's really something I meant to do with Bannerman. I never got around to doing it. I really should still do it at some point. Epic Games Store, most likely, if they'll take us. Not an exclusive, though, so don't... No. Not really interested in that. But yeah, basically everywhere, as much as possible, really. To be fair.
Good old games.
Good old
if they'll
games.
Take us.
Yeah, if they take us, they are curated, so they either let you in or don't. A lot of people don't know that. So they either go yes or no. For Bannerman, they did go no, which was fun. Although they went yes, and then they went no. They changed their mind a couple of times. But I probably shouldn't talk about that anyway. It's probably under some sort of NDA, and I just breached it. So now I'll never be on there again.
What was that one you were on for the 24-hour sale?
Oh, Chrono.gg.
Yeah, Chrono. Yeah.
That was a great sale, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chrono.gg do daily game sales at pretty decent discounts compared to, like, you know, the sort of Steam discounts, like, for when they come out. So I think Bannerman went on there, it was a while ago now, but it went on for like $5, and it's sold bloody quite a lot, a couple of thousand copies or something.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Wouldn't-
100 copies.
Wouldn't be on there for a while though.
No, it's one day. Yeah, it's only
Yeah.
for one day. But yeah, that's but yeah, like that wouldn't be on until further down the road. Best Buy, Walmart. Yeah, no.
Boxed games. Remember them?
No, I'm so glad that that's not a thing anymore. Can you imagine trying to like do your own indie game thing, but having to organize like shipping and like distribution and all that stuff?
Pressing CDs and.
Oh my.
The ones that I remember that did that were DEFCON and.
Oh, Introversion.
Yeah, Introversion.
Yeah, they did too. Yeah, because they even brought out Prison Architect in stores.
Yeah, like I remember walking into a JB Hi-Fi and being like, "Oh my god, it's boxed."
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
Yeah, but I guess back then, like digital distribution was only just kind of starting to take off.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, not with Prison Architect. Though,
Yeah,
but
no,
but
but
that's
like-
just because that
Yeah.
printed money, so they kind of just did whatever the hell they wanted with that.
Yeah. No, but their earlier games, I was just like, yeah, I remember being amazed.
Yeah, it was like Darwinia and
Yeah,
like Multi-Winnia
that's it.
and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that's where I bought Darwinia originally. Was like in a box. So yeah, some very early indie sort of craziness going on there. All right, let's have a listen to my mess. These are all individually mixed, but I don't even know if these are all going to go together, and it's going to sound terrible. Here we go. Oh, that's good. Great. Yeah, save that one. Put it straight in the game. Yeah, so the main thing here is everything's all just fighting with each other. I also didn't mix this at all, I don't think. Like, I like parts of this. I think I like from about here on. Do miss the old game manuals. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Box game with the game manual that's like 500 pages thick. Like, yeah, I miss them too. Like, I'd love to do a limited box release sort of thing. Like, it's just because I like boxed games. I'd love to do that. I did look at it. I didn't look too closely, but I did look at it for Bannerman, and it was bloody prohibitive. I'm off to bed. Probably should get a few hours of sleep before it's time to wake up. Yes, good night. Get some sleep.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks very much. Catch you later. Alright, I like that. I like that part of the sound. Well, not all of that, but let's see if I can get the bit I actually do like from there. There. But I don't like how much bass this has going through it, because I did not mix this sound for some reason. I mixed everything else, but not this one. So let me just have a look. This is way too heavy on the bass. Look at that. It's nuts. That's actually like crazy. So let me kill that. Maybe I can just have the highs. Let's try that. Oh man, that pad goes for way too long. Hang on a second, let me get rid of that. Let's go the old. sort of curve on that one. See how we go. What fades out too early there? Is it the choir? Yes. Cast your spell, go bang. It's okay. Still not sold on this. I really quite like that. That might be the wrong pitch though. That swing is too cutting through too much. Ah, I know what. Let me put an extra EQ over the top of this reverb. It's the reverb that's too harsh. 1 second. Let me get my little cute equalizer. This little fella here. Different equalizers for different jobs. This one's super simple. He's like not even a proper equalizer. He goes from tinny to warm, dark to bright, and it's great for just sort of fine-tuning stuff. Now it's this as it's too bright, basically. So it's this on here. Would it be Indie Box that you're thinking of? They did it like it was almost yeah, they'd pick games and they do like a limited run of them, and they're in sort of like maybe like a half-size box, not like the big super old giant things, but like kind of slightly bigger than like a DVD case.
How cool would it be to do one of those big old giant boxes?
Oh, with the fold out?
Flap?
Yeah.
Oh, it was so
Love
good.
it. Yeah, with the 12,000 page manual and like the registration card and the copy protection ring. I'd love to do that. Alright, yeah. So you can hear this if I put it right in the middle. Kind of harsh, kind of makes you go like that. That's brightness, normally, is what people call that. So if I go down to warm and dark, it sounds like that. A little bit nicer. Hurts a little bit less. That still goes for too long. I think because I slowed this down. Let me go to 175. And its reverb tails too much. This is getting pretty close, but this is the sound. It is the swing that is cutting through and annoying me. Yeah, it's just a little bit irritating. Not to mention that vibraphone rings out for about 3 days, so let me cut rid of that. Bloody hell. Silly instruments. Now this needs to fade out a bit. This needs to go, I think, a little bit longer. Right, let's see how we're doing now. It's getting there, it's getting there, it's just a little bit off. This swing still is annoying me, just ever so slightly. Swing. Oh, that's actually not bad. It's getting there. This is just the first part of the sound. This is the casting it, but then the little balls, or whatever you want to call them, have their own sound to it as well. We just go through and make sure I like every single one of these. The vibraphone's good. That's great. Choir. It's pretty great. Swing. I still got nah. Still don't like it. Is it too harsh? It needs to be there, but it's just a little bit too much. Our pad. It's quite juicy. And we've got our little magic sound up here, which is kind of harsh too. I think that's what it is we've got the sort of, both of these are competing at about the same sort of point here. They're both pretty chunky. Whoop, wrong one. Let's go high pass there. And let's really kick down 2K on him. Make that wider. And pitch him down a little bit. Let's try again. Vibraphone needs to die earlier. Rings out longer than everything else. I think this could come in. It takes a little bit too long to fade up. I still got this. I do this whip on here. Let me get rid of that. This wrong note. Sorry. Highly irritating. I apologize. Let me push this back in the background. It sounded pretty good. There's something in there that's still irritating me, but I actually quite like most of this. What I'll probably do is with this entire sound, basically, I'll give you an example here. I'll EQ the whole thing with like a master track that basically cuts off the top, is what I'm thinking. Almost like that. So then it doesn't take too much away from the other sounds over the top, which are going to be all shimmery, so they're actually going to be quite high. So I will do something like that on the master, which I'll just turn off so it's not affecting everything else. And let's go over to our... Well, this will be the actual impact, won't it? Yes. Okay, this one is going to be pretty easy, because we're just going to have a little chime. Along with a guy slapping a sink, apparently. Let's see how that goes. what's that message held for review? What's oh, that's fine. Personally, on the Godhead shown in the previous upload, the laugh coupled with the room filling with random items is pretty cool. It's always been quite endearing in a dickish way. That is the ultimate goal, is to get it that he is a total dick and you hate him, but he's still alright.
But he's also adorable,
Yeah.
and you're like, you cheeky little fella, what are you doing now?
That's it. Yeah, you bastard. That's the goal. He will be doing some pretty crazy things as well, so it won't he's not limited to being in the game, and you can he can break the fourth wall, basically. It's probably a good way to put it. Yeah, he can pause the game and rewind things and go forward, and spontaneously decide to change up all your items, which will be quite amusing. That's going to be good. Things like that. But he's never going to, he's not going to totally rail you with drastic things like that. Most of the time he's just going to be hanging out, but
Yeah, and he won't only do like annoying, horrible stuff if he really likes what you're doing, and I don't know, maybe you're getting absolutely like slaughtered by enemies. He'll find that hilarious and be like, "Hey, why don't you have this really awesome weapon? This is funny watching you get hurt."
yeah, that's it. Like, yeah, it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's not all in between. It's kind of a mixture of everything. Yeah, like a child messing with insects and playing block. That's exactly it. Pretty much. Yeah, definitely want that sort of like childlike mentality coming through with him, where he's just being a bit of a tosser. Ding! See, that's pretty good already, actually, this one. So let me just go through and EQ these little dings quickly. Bong! Alright, this is a terrible sound because it dies off, but let's try again. Whoops, sorry. Make sure that's actually in shot. There we go. Way too much on the high end here. Like, it is a high end sound, but it's not that high. That's nuts. And it's got all this low noise as well, which is just crap. That's better. It's got a lot of noise to it. Hopefully we can bury that. And it doesn't show up too much throughout the entire thing. Good. Next. Chime. I think I'm missing the actual impact off there. Yes, I am. Same thing, that thing rings out. Does it actually have a ring out? Good, it does. Okay, let me fade that out. We don't want this to hang around too long. There we go. Bing. Can we see that? Almost. Too much low. Too much high. Way too much at 1K there. Like, I get that's where the sound is, but that's too much. Pretty good. Next one. This guy's slapping a sink. I still find it hilarious as someone recorded them slapping a sink. I mean, it's great they did because I'm using it. Don't get me wrong, but it's pretty good. It's a good insult calling someone a sink slapper. Yep, that's a good solid slap. I just want the low of this, obviously. I don't want the highs. And I'm just going to pitch that down a bit because it's got a little bit too... pure bass, which is great. Just what we want. Again, that needs to fade out. We don't want this to linger too much. There will be multiple of these all happening within quick succession of each other, so you do not want lots of like reverb and ringing out and things like that, otherwise it'll sound like an absolute mess. Like, think throwing pots and pans everywhere. That's a pretty nicely mixed sound to start with, but let's have a look. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't think I really need to do much with that. I can take the high off, but it's using the highs for a little bit of sparkle. You know what? I might do it because I think we've got enough sparkle with all the chime in there anyway. Let's have a little listen. These are unvolumed but mixed. Pretty good. The chime is way too loud. So is that. Yep, get hit with magic and it goes bing. It's not bad. Typewriter is still too loud too. And that needs something else on it. Let me just try a little bit of reverb. Again, you don't want too much, but I think I want just the wet and not the dry. When you start these, do you have a distinct sound in mind that you wanted to create, or just a vague idea that fleshes the salt out as you tinker? A bit of both. To be honest, I was like, right, I want these components, and I want something like that. Let's go. And then, yeah, as I'm going through it, I'm like, I don't like that. That sounds crap. A lot of the time, it ends up what's happening, so and end up changing based on that. This has come out okay. I do like this impact. I think it's quite good. A little bit of bling in there with a big boom. Pretty good. As for this car sound, it's still too high heavy, but like I said, I have to put that master effect on it. It's just, I think some of this could pretty much just go away. And you know what it is? The vibraphone needs to swell a bit. That's what it is. There we go. That's more like what we want. Went back to it, and it's all good. Okay, now this last one is the actual, as the magic's flying through the air, it's going to have its own little jingly sound, so I'm using the sound of someone dropping coins everywhere. Jingling their keys or something. I have no idea what that is. It's called coin pour, but there you go. I guess they're pouring coins. Let me, first of all, open up the old EQ for this one, and I'm going to obviously get rid of all the lows on this, because this is just going to be a little tinkly sort of sound. There's really not much lows on it anyway, but let me just put a high pass on anyway, just in case. And then sometimes I get a little bit closer. Cool.
This is his microphone again.
I hope that doesn't bleed through. Well, let's chuck a quick little compressor on there to even out the lows and the highs. And let's chuck a bit of reverb on there and see if we can just get the wet, and it might sound kind of cool. Sort of. That reverb sucks. Let me use another one. Bum 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 bum. Alright, what have we got? tell I've reversed it in there, but let me switch around the other way and see how that sounds. I think reversing will be the way to go. I think I'm going to reverse that, and then I might speed it up just a little bit. Down just a little. Maybe some. A little bit of a phaser on there, give it the flutter. Wasn't too much. It's like a little twittery bird, which is kind of cool. I don't mind that. Now let me just see if I can get a little bit crazy again. I'm just going to go a little bit of reverb on that. So that's reverb on reverb on reverb. Let me try that. Again, I've opened up the wrong reverb. I'm sorry. One sec. Let me get rid of that. Force a habit. I always open up the wrong reverb for it. Do you ever worry that being so open on your projects could lead to a team of quicker devs, a larger team taking your ideas and running with them? Look, yeah, it's a risk, I suppose, but I don't know. There's so many ideas out there and that sort of thing that I doubt we're going to hit absolute gold and people are going to go, oh my god, that's the best idea ever. Everyone's got millions of ideas for sort of what games they want to do. I doubt there's many teams sitting out there with absolutely no clue of what they want to do when they hear about something we're doing. They go, oh great, there we are, this is it. It's I suppose it is some sort of risk, but
Yeah.
it's worth taking, I feel. Oh yeah, I don't really worry too much about that sort of thing.
No, I think the benefits of sharing what we're doing and like showing people how making an indie game works when you've got two people working on it, I think the benefits of that kind of outweigh the risks.
Why does it have so much high coming through it? Interesting. Alright, well let's go without that reverb then. Let me just check this original reverb, because this might be a bit too much then. Alright, there we go. So we've got cast. Oh, try that again. Cast your magic. Flies through the air. Wax you. That's not bad. Alright, let me save that. So they obviously need a little bit more fiddling around, but he's pretty good for the moment, and definitely better than no sound, which is what is currently in the game. So let me try forbidden knowledge. Special. Save him. Haley, did you want to show any of your death animations on here?
Yeah.
That's about enough of sound for the moment. We're going sound crazy.
Alright. You can open them up. It's just in the assets, player animations.
One sec. In progress.
No, it's in assets.
Assets, sprites, player animations.
That's it.
So look. Yep, from tumbling coins to laser birds. That's exactly it. The magic of mixing. Let's see what I got here. Jump across to pixel edit. It works. Alright, this is our sprite sheet here. Where are we? Where's the death? Down the bottom. There he goes. Death, right, and you are
Turn
on.
one of the skins on.
You've done all of them basically.
I've done all of them up to that one. That one that I'm working on. I'm just going through the list this time.
We'll go the soldier because he's just steady. He's always there. Yeah, just like that. Both directions. Definite neck snappage going on there.
Yep.
Various. I love these hat falls
I
off.
know, it's so cute.
Doctor, who bends his hat? The Explorer, that's right. Donk. That mustache is amazing.
Yeah. I'm quite happy with like the preacher. I like how his scarf moves.
Oh, that's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That works. Yeah, definitely hurts. Definitely looks like it hurts.
And that's what I'm up to.
Cool. Cool. Oh, let me close that. Yes. Alright. What are we going? Oh, we'll be going for about 2 hours, 20 minutes now. You know what? I reckon I might actually call this stream as is. Normally we go away for another break and then come back, but it's a lovely day outside. At the very moment, but it's going
Right
to,
now.
Yeah, it's going to rain shortly, so I was actually going to get out of here and go for a bit of a stroll, and before it starts pouring rain, because it's been raining here constantly, and it'd be good to get out of the house for a bit. So we might actually call the stream here, cut it a little bit shorter than what we normally do. Normally go for about 3 hours, but we're 2:20 instead. Instead of coming back after 5 and working on some more stuff. So I reckon that'll be about it. What do you reckon?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Right. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed watching me mix sounds. Thrilling. Next time, who knows what we'll be doing? Probably some more sprites or maybe some code. I haven't done any code on stream. There's kind of a reason for that, though. When people looking over your shoulder going, oh no, that variable's wrong. As I'm sure Medi can appreciate.
If there's anything in particular you want to have a look at, let us know and we'll see if we can make that work on stream.
Yeah, definitely, because we do have so much on our to-do list, basically. There's still so much to do. If you want to see anything in particular, then there's probably definitely some of that needs doing, to be fair. Like, I try to jump around what I do on the stream as much as possible to try to keep it interesting, so I'm not just sitting there doing pixel art, so I'm not just sitting there doing sounds every single episode, but try to mix it up a little bit. Whether or not that works, we'll see. It's up to you. Alright, thanks very much, guys. I'll
Thank
catch
you so
later.
much. See ya.
See ya.